He directed her past the unoccupied roulette and blackjack tables to a large poker table where 5 men in dark suits contemplated their cards. With a rough jerk, he pulled her to a stop behind a man with thick, dark hair and broad shoulders, tapering to the narrow waist of his impeccably tailored suit. He moved Mia silently to the left, and she caught a flash of a gold Vacheron Constantin watch, the perfectly turned cuff of a shirt, the sparkle of a diamond cufflink, and just a few inches of thick, tanned forearm that made her heart skip a beat. Still holding Mia's arm behind her back, the guard cleared his throat. "I caught this woman in the control room, Mr. T. She was trying to stick something in the main computer." With the slightest lift of his finger, Mr. T silenced the guard, and Mia's heart kicked up a notch. She had grown up around powerful men, and that simple gesture carried with it an utter certainty that he would be obeyed. The guard mumbled an apology and pulled Mia back a step. "He doesn't like to be disturbed at the tables." Mia checked out the man's cards over his shoulder and quickly calculated the odds. If she'd been the one sitting at the table with a stack of chips worth $200,000 and a $20,000 bet on the table, she would have folded, cashed out, and run, much like she wanted to do now. Mr. T threw down 3 cards, and Mia bit back a gasp. He might look conservative in his impeccably tailored suit, but he was a gambler. Not many people would take that kind of risk, especially with so many players at the table. He turned at the sound, and her breath caught. God, he was gorgeous. Movie star handsome. He was sleek and rugged at the same time. His ice blue eyes were a startling contrast to the dark hair that curled at his temples and the brows that furrowed at her distraction. Power, fierce and unyielding, radiated from him, and not because of his obvious wealth. It was something she sensed beneath the civilized veneer, something dark and dangerous, wild and ruthless, something that stole her breath and left only a need so strong she couldn't move. His lazy gaze slid over her face, to her throat, her breasts barely contained beneath the corset, her waist, her hips, and down her legs to her heels. He didn't make any effort to hide his slow perusal of her body, of looking where he wanted with brazen, unapologetic intent. Rather than finding it offensive, she found his scrutiny curiously electrifying, her body turning warm and liquid as she sank into the feeling of being caressed by his gaze. Enough. She was in this mess because she couldn't stand being objectified, so why was she putting up with it now? Her words trailed off when his gaze sharpened on her. Christ, what the hell had she walked into?